I'd like to call the December 4, 2019 regular city council meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone that's here. Thank you for joining us, and thank all of those people who are out there watching on television and online. We're going to start with two different things that we've been doing here for years. One is opening prayer, which will be done by Councilmember Byrd, and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So we'd like you to, after the roll call. Thank you. I'm still good at this. We do roll call first, please.
Byrd.
Present.
Peters. Here. Garcia. Trethewey.
Here.
Arnshorst. Here. Corbin.
Here.
Hoekstra.
Here.
Raymond. Here. Mayor Box.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Now we'll open with prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We'd like you to join us if you would.
Ask you all to pray with me. Dear Lord, we thank you first of all for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to come together collectively for the city and to represent the people of our community. Father, during this time, politically, there's a lot of division going on. And as we step into our roles, I pray that we could be beacons of hope to mend fences, to bring together people with different ideologies and different thought processes and different values, that we may together work towards issues that are at hand. And as we sit here today, we just ask for your grace, your wisdom, and understanding of one another. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item are the items that are on our consent agenda. These are items that are considered to be routine or have previously been reviewed by the council. They will be enacted with one motion unless any member of the public or any member of council would like them to be removed from the consent agenda. Are there any members of the public who would like to have an item removed from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we'll
We'll read them first? All right, thank you. We'll read them first, then you can decide.
4A, to excuse the absence of Councilmember Garcia. 4B, to approve the minutes of the November 20, 2019 regular meeting. 4C, to accept and file executed oaths of office. 12D1, to refer claims filed against the city to the city's insurance carrier and city attorney for consideration. 12E 4.1, to accept the October 2019 monthly financial reports. 12E 4.2, to approve the bid to purchase 10 sets of firefighter protective clothing from Apollo Fire Equipment at a total cost of $33,000. 12E 4.3, to approve the Ad America Marketing Group bid for the purchase of T-shirts for recreational programming for the 2020 through 2022. 12E 4.4, to declare 2014 Chevrolet Caprice as surplus and authorize staff to dispose of all items in a manner that is most advantageous to the city. 12E 4.5, to approve the Holland allocation of the Burn Justice Assistant Grant in the amount of $45,000 to support the cost of 3 public safety officers assigned to WEMET, subject to approval as deformed by the city attorney, and that the local budget for the grant be considered as part of fiscal year 2019-2020. 12E 6.2, to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Fair Food Network to continue the Double Up Food Bucks program at the Holland Farmers Market for the 2020 season, subject to approval as deformed by the city attorney.
Great, thank you. Now, are there any members of the audience who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none. Any council members who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none. Kathy, would you please call the roll? Oh, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda as read.
Support.
Moved by Trethewey, support by Byrd. Any discussion? All right, now would you please call the roll?
Byrd.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Trethewey.
Yes.
Arnshorst.
Yes.
Corbin,
Yes.
Hoekstra,
Yes.
Raymond,
yes,
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. We're on to item 10A, proposed text amendments to Chapter 29, Sections 29.2, 29.3. Oh, thank you. I'm having a great night tonight. Just when I thought I was getting on a roll. All right. Public comment period. We're going to back up a little bit. Are there any members of the audience who would like to speak to the council? This is your opportunity to do so. We would ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. You'll notice that there are 3 lights in front of me. There's a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. The green light means that you're doing all right. The yellow light means that you have 1 minute left. And the red light means that your time has expired. Any members of the audience who'd like to come up? And when you do so, please state your name and your address, please.
Good evening, Council. Ken Freestone, 845 East 8th Street in the city of Holland. And one of the items that was just approved was the Double Up Food Bucks program with the Holland Farmers Market, and I wanted to just make a couple of comments in support of that. I had sent a message to Lisa Ugansky, who's the the coordinator of Ottawa Foods, the Food Policy Council for Ottawa County, and I sent her a message a couple days ago after having read the agenda, seeing this was coming up, and said, do you want to have make any comments, or are you able to come and say anything? And she sent just a small paragraph. And I did send that to all the council members, but I'll read the part of this because it's, again, a very small comment. But this is from Lisa Ugansky, and she said, thank you very much for the heads up. She said, please feel free to forward on that Ottawa Foods strongly supports the Double Up Food Bucks program, as it not only increases individuals' access to healthy local food, but also supports local growers and encourages people to shop at the Holland Farmers Market. Ottawa Food is committed to continuing to promote Double Up Food Bucks to Ottawa County residents who could benefit from the program. She said, please follow up and let me know if it passes. I will send her a message tomorrow morning. And in the document that I sent to all of you, and I'll leave a copy of this for Kathy also to distribute, there's the website for Ottawa Food. And it is called Ottawa Food, and formerly it was the Ottawa Food Policy Council. It's been rebranded to Ottawa Food, and there's some more information on their website, of course, and there's a brief description on here. But 3 of the key priority areas for Ottawa Food are eliminate hunger in Ottawa County, healthy eating by all, and increased sourcing of local foods. Laudable goals, and there's a tremendous group of people. On the back of that document I sent is a list of 36 different organizations, many which you will recognize if you go through the list. And there's Holland Farmers Market is on that, and they're members of the council. West Michigan Works, McIntyre Resource Center, Kids Food Basket, Community Action House, and more. So there's tremendous partners on this council. My nonprofit, Green Michigan, is part of that also. And one of the committees that I sit on is the Hunger Committee, but we also have a food waste reduction and food waste redistribution as part of our committee. So finding ways that we can redistribute food that may not be used, if it's a catering event, a restaurant, schools, how can we redistribute that food? And then next, how can we find a good way to dispose of that or reuse it? In my case, in the composting is one of the things that I've encouraged quite a bit. Some of the other programs that are part of Ottawa Foods, or some of the things that we've gotten started, are things like share tables at 7 schools in Ottawa County so far. That means taking food from lunchtime that may not be opened, or a banana that has not been peeled at all, putting it on a separate table in the lunchroom. Students, teachers may take that food after lunch and take it back to the classrooms. They may take it home, whatever they would like. There's so many people, so many kids that are food insecure. This is another opportunity to get them fresh food and food they can take away. And this is part of this, is a big part of this has been through the Ottawa County Health Department. And the inspectors have gone to the schools and said, it's okay to redistribute the food. They were worried that, liability, there's going to be problems with that. Even milk is good for 4 hours after it's taken out of the refrigerator. So normally what would have happened, container of milk didn't get opened, it got thrown away. Now they can drink it, they can distribute it in the classrooms. So that's one of the things that we've done, a composting pilot project, which I've been really pleased with. And although that pilot has ended after 3 months, we now are ramping it up with another organization to pick up where the other left off and keep the composting program going. The Meet Up and Eat Up program in the summertime about getting kids food during the summertime when they normally would have gotten some food at school. This is another way to get them food. And then also supporting the community gardens throughout the area. And I think probably one of the best things that's happened with this organization is the pantries are all talking to each other. The food distributors are talking to each other. So if there's something left over at one place, they're finding ways to redistribute it to another place so that things don't get wasted and people are getting the food that they need. So I just wanted to give a big thumbs up and a thank you for supporting this and also for supporting Ottawa Food. And take a look at some of those organizations. I think you'll be quite surprised at all the work that's going on.
Great. Thank you for
very
sharing that
much.
with us,
Yeah.
Mr. Freestone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. My name is Dave Coster. I'm the General Manager at the Holland Board of Public Works, which is at 625 Hastings Avenue. Thanks for some time this evening. What I wanted to do is come in a little bit and talk about this past week and our holiday of Thanksgiving. It was an important time of the year for people getting together, and one of the things that people look forward to on those days is having reliable utility services. And so I just want to take this opportunity to highlight a couple things. Not everybody understands it sometimes what the value of public community-owned utility service might be. But I think it is exemplified here in a couple of pictures that I want to show you. You know, we survey our customers every year, and the number one attribute that they're looking for in their electric provider or their utility provider is reliability. And this is a map of our system as of Thursday morning. We had winds come through on Wednesday, you know, of about 40 miles an hour, gusting up to 60 miles an hour. And if you look at the BPW map on Thursday morning, you can see that we had nobody out. If you look at the surrounding area around us, this is the consumer's energy map, and it's a little bit different story. And outages are a fact of life. They are things that we deal with regularly. It's something that every electric provider deals with. But I really want to take this time and just sort of differentiate the responsiveness, differentiate the care and level of effort that goes in terms of the design of the system, but also in terms of the men and women that are responding when outages occur and working in conditions that are very harsh at times to make sure that things are restored. And we were very glad to be able to say for our customers on Thanksgiving that the power's on and it's available for you for your family gatherings and to prepare your meal and to just be together with family. And that really is because of the dedication of those employees that made that happen over the later hours of Wednesday. Of the few outages that we did have, we got those back on so that our system was completely intact at that time. So just want to take this moment and share with you, but also those at home, you know, the value of your community-owned utility at work. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And thank you for the commitment of you and of all of your employees for keeping us lit and heated. And I was equally impressed by the fact that you were up at 7 o'clock in the morning of Thanksgiving taking pictures of outage maps. I think that's great. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Any other members of the audience who'd like to come up and address council? All right, seeing none, I will close the public comment period, and we will now move on to item 10A, proposed text amendments to Chapter 29, Sections 29.2, 29.3, 29.13, 29.49, and 29.50 Sewer Use Ordinance.
All right. Good evening again, Mayor and members of City Council. Wasn't just here to talk about outage maps tonight. We do have an item on the agenda for adoption of ordinance revision. Our sewer ordinance is something that we regularly take a look at. Matter of fact, every 5 years or so, we are obligated to perform what's called a local limit study. And a local limit study looks at all the potential pollutants that could come through the sewer system to our reclamation facility. And it looks at what the levels that are safe not only for the collection system itself and safe for the workers that work on that collection system, but what also is safe for the treatment plant and make sure that it does not have issues. But finally, it also is protective of the lake, the water body that ultimately the water discharges back to. And so when we look at that, we're looking at new pollutants that are entering into the waste stream. We're looking at new water body standards that have maybe become in effect. And we perform this study, which gives us a sense of any sort of changes in the levels that can be permitted by our regulated businesses and then generally just all the sewer users to make sure that they remain in compliance so that the systems remain safe and that ultimately the water body remains protected at the back end. The revision of this local limit study goes through review at the state. It's the Office of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, formerly the DEQ, and they have to sign off on the local limit study as being protective of all those things. It then takes form of any revisions in our ordinance, and the red lines that are in front of you tonight represent primarily changes that are associated with the levels as a result of the local limit study. So there's one other small change in that as well, and that has to do with the fact that we used to regulate dentists in terms of the mercury that could come from fillings and things like that, and the amalgam. We actually have lost some of that regulation capability. The state actually moved that over to the LARA division of the state. But we adopted some language in the ordinance that reflects basically the same standards that are in LARA, which give us as good of a regulatory foothold on that as we can still achieve and still be compliant with the way the law is written today. So those are the changes that are proposed tonight, and this is up for, I think, the adoption and the final reading. So
Great.
I'll answer any questions that anybody has.
Wonderful, thank you. Motion of council.
Support.
Moved by Peters, support by Aaronshorst. Any discussion? Seeing none, could you call the roll, please?
Peters. Yes. Trethewey.
Yes.
Aaronshorst.
Yes.
Corbin. Yes. Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Item 10B, Downtown Group, proposed text amendments to Chapter 18, Article 5, stopping, standing, and parking. Amy Sasimoto.
We're requesting some text amendments to Chapter 18 concerning some revisions to the downtown parking program, most of it cleanup items and also adding in the Civic Center parking lot. We are requesting removal of the text amendment proposed for Section 1833 as the DDA would further study that and come back to you at a different time with a different recommendation from the DDA board.
All right, thank you. What's the pleasure of council?
Motion to recommend the city council adopt the proposed text amendment of section 1827, 1831, 1833, 1832, 1833, and 1842 as recommended by the DDA.
Support.
Moved by Trethewey, support by Aaronshorst. Do we have any discussion?
Motion to amend.
Fire away.
Motion to amend by removing text amendment number 1833 for an unspecified period of time for the report to come back from the DDA board.
Okay, it's been moved and amended. Is there support for the amendment?
Support.
Support by Aaronshorst. Any discussion on the amendment to the motion? Seeing none, we call the roll on for the amendment to the motion.
Trethewey.
Yes.
Aaronshorst.
Yes.
Corbin. Yes. Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, so we have now amended the motion. Now is there any discussion on the motion as amended? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please, on the amended motion?
Trethewey.
Yes.
Aaronshorst.
Yes.
Corbin. Yes. Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Peters. Yes. Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Now on to item 6.1, gifts.
This is-
12.6.1, sorry.
The city manager's office is pleased to report the following gifts: Parks and Recreation, Van Rolte Farm Dog Park Project, the Holland Zeeland Community Foundation, the Doug and Kitsy Zylstra Giving Fund, $500. Parks and Recreation, Lakeview Playground Project, the Palmer family, $1,000. Parks and Recreation, Ice Skating Rink, Frank Cray, $25,000. It is recommended that these donations be accepted with appreciation credited to the appropriate account and an expression of gratitude be forwarded to said donors.
Motion to adopt the recommendation to accept these donations with appreciation.
Moved by Trethewey. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Byrd. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Trethewey.
I happened to run into Mr. Cry as he was leaving here after he gave his donation. It would be kind of nice to know exactly where we're at with that. I'm thinking we're pushing, he has been very, very faithful. And I'm hoping, of all hopes, that we can get something going on this, which I'm getting the finger pointed at me from Mr. Van Dyken, probably saying, we've anticipated your question and here's the answer.
Mr. Van Dyken.
We have, I believe, as it stands right now, it is just over $91,000 that Mr. Cry has shared with the city for the creation of the skating rink. We have been doing some work on the skating rink, and while we have some preliminary, very preliminary conceptual renderings of what that can look like, and those have been shared with Mr. Cry at this point. They're not available for public comment at this point or use. We're not that far down the road, but we have been actively pursuing some work on that concept.
Fantastic. And I'm not going to do a shameless plug here, but because of Mr. Cry's donations here, if there are anybody else that would like to help with that, I'm not asking for donations, don't get me wrong here, I don't want to get in trouble for that, but he has been very, very faithful and very, very patient with us on this, and I'm hoping, again, very soon that we can make this come to fruition, and if there's anybody else that has the passion that Frank does for this, by all means, the donations would be very, very welcome.
Thank you. Any other comments? And thank you, Mr. Trethewey, for bringing that up, because Mr. Cry has been incredibly faithful in this project, and I would love to see this come to fruition as well. And we do a voice vote on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're on to communications from the city manager. It's fairly early in the evening.
Yeah, so I guess I'll have a few quick things. And really, that was a great setup, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, maybe I can say there is a possibility for people, if they want to give donations to the city on an ice rink or a dog park or any other thing. We do have the donate button on the city website where you can facilitate that process. So we're always very appreciative of the unbelievable list that we have at every meeting where people are graciously giving to the city. But we also always welcome those moving forward. We also will, Matt's been doing a tremendous amount of work on really some exciting projects, and as we continue to take a look at our 50-year municipal capital improvement fund and all those projects, we are looking to have where at some point in the near future, but we've been missing meeting dates and stuff, what we'd like to do is kind of give an update on a variety of projects. In particular, there's some community projects that I don't think any of them would come as a surprise to you, but there is going to be some element of, okay, some ordering of those events and some prioritizations that we would like to hear from you. So we're looking at probably in the next couple months, I'll say, that we will set aside some time on an agenda so we can go through several of those projects and bring you up to date on where those stand. And then the final thing, because as Mr. Koster was talking about the storm that we had last week, and apparently we'll see, I haven't heard it rumbling out there, but we had predictions of a storm tonight also, in particular with some prevailing winds. You may have noticed, you may have gotten comments, and I've mentioned this before to some of you, but just so everyone knows and for the viewing public, Pine Avenue is one of those areas where in some of those storms, and particularly in some of those winds, we've had some lane closures and some issues on Pine Avenue as you come into town from the north side. We all know the north side, our friends there in the township over there. And that is one of those areas where with the wind, there's actually a catch basin there. And catch basins are interesting, right? They're supposed to only work one way, but they can work two ways also, where if water comes up through that catch basin, that's really what's creating that problem on Pine Avenue. So I've certainly had the questions where a lot of people say, hey, how come you have all those cones out there and the sign and you got a lane closed down? Well, it just so happens that they probably didn't come through there when some of that water's backed up into the far east lane, I guess it would be. And we've had some longer times of some standing water there. But in some of these more recent storm events, we've actually had water all the way across Pine. So just if you're getting those questions, if you're just reminding people to be cautious out there, but we've also let you know, and Brian White's been here before, we're looking at some fixes, and when we do that, we're going to do those on an emergency basis, where we're going to get that fixed as soon as we can. We have to work out some things with some neighboring property owners. So we're pretty confident that we can get that done before everything completely freezes for the season. But we're trying to get that taken care of as soon as possible. But I've certainly had the questions of, hey, what's going on out there? And kind of came to mind that I bet some of you get those questions also. So just for your information. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Some communications from the mayor. It's the holiday season, and I've had the privilege of being out in the community and doing a variety of different holiday events. And just about all of us from council last night were part of the Parade of Lights put on by our downtown group, which I think was an incredibly successful event again. Great to see so many members of the public out, and almost 70 different entries in the parade. That was great to see as well, and to see Santa out there. Coming up on Friday night at 7 o'clock down at the Civic Center in the Kurtz Market, Sinterklaas will be making his appearance. So we'd like to invite the public down to see that as well. And then thank you, Mr. City Manager, for queuing up the next thing on my list. Is that on November 2nd, the City Council's Holiday Open House will be Thursday, December 12th. I'm sorry, I've got 12/2 instead of 12/12 on my list. On December 12th, from 4 to 6 here in the City Council chambers, we would like to invite the public to come down, meet your council member, tell us what you are interested in, what is a bug in your ear. We have also invited all of the members of the city boards and commissions to come down for that as well. So if you have a particular interest that involves a board or commission member, we are hoping that many of them will be here as well. And it's a great opportunity to have face-to-face time with the members of council and the mayor. So we'd invite all of you to come down for that as well. So next item is communications from council members. Any council members have anything that they'd like to share? Seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session to review a written legal opinion with the city attorney and to discuss the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement. And by reports, there will be no action after the closed meeting.
That is correct. We have moved by Trethewey, support by Peters. Any discussion? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please, Kathy?
Corbin? Yes. Hoekstra?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Byrd?
Yes.
Peters? Yes. Trethewey?
Yes.
Arnthorst?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We will be moving into closed session. We as a council will be moving upstairs and we'll be adjourning the meeting from the upstairs training room. So if you did want to sit and watch us adjourn the meeting from that upstairs training room, you're happy to sit outside in the hallway and we'll be opening the door at the end. Yes.
Mr.
Ron.
Mayor, it should be worth noting too, there will be no request for action after the closed section.
Yes, there will be no action after the closed session. That is correct. Thank you.